Stars. They're literally everywhere. You've got some here. You've got some there. You've got some everywhere. Roy Kent. Roy Kent. But no, we're not here today to talk about fictional football star player Roy Kent. We're here today to talk about Stars by Fun. Now you may be thinking to yourself, Josh, I don't know this song, and an 8-minute video, I don't know if I want to invest that kind of time. Trust me, pal, I hear you, loud and clear. But allow me to offer a series of hypothetical questions. Hi, welcome to the Hypothetical Questions Show. Today, I just want to go over some questions that may apply to you. First off, do you feel that this growing old is getting old? Do you often find yourself thinking about, I don't know, the birds, the boats, or the past loves? Do you often stay up late at night? If you answered yes to any of these questions, allow me to prescribe you a 7-minute auditory experience called Stars. Off of their 2012 album, Some Nights, Stars is an emotional ballad that starts off with a bang, immediately immersing the listener into an all-encompassing soundscape that, in the wise words of Jennifer Coolidge, sounds like the 4th of July. The first verse has Nate taking an inventory of his life. He talks about common tropes such as getting old and reflecting on past relationships. Our first hint at the meaning of the song comes from the line, "We'd stay up late, debate on how we find our way. You'd say it's all up in the stars." Now, let's just take a moment and reflect on that lyric. Okay, that's enough reflecting. This is just a little breadcrumb at what the internal struggle of this song is. But hold on, Sparky. Don't get ahead of yourself. We've still got more lyrics to unpack here. Now, at this point in his career, Nate's getting a little bit of recognition on the streets. People are coming up to him and saying like, dude, we totally like what you do now. And Nate's like, screw that, I'm thinking about this girl over here. He then asks a very key question that drives the theme and the narrative of the song. If you're right here, why do I miss you so much? Now, this can be interpreted in a few different ways. My interpretation of it is that he misses the idea of the person that he has or had a relationship with. You know, the simpler times when it was a beautiful sunrise on the dawn of new beginnings. But now it's the middle of the day in Florida. You bet there's a heat advisor, and what's that say? Oh, feels like 110 degrees outside? You know, I feel like there's a term for that people have been referring to for years, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. Someone should look into that. But I'm getting sidetracked here. The pre-chorus kicks in, and man, does it kick like Uriah Hall, because Nate just lays it all down on wax. I'll just play a little snippet of it for you.
Next, wait for you to talk to me, but you won't even look at me, baby.
If that isn't an emotional cry of pure grief and anguish, then I'm interpreting this whole thing wrong. The way in which the music swells around him as he cries out, "But you won't even look at me, baby," feels like a Category 5 hurricane is about to rip through him. But just as the winds pick up to their fiercest speeds, we enter the eye of the hurricane. Get used to that line because you're going to be hearing it a lot. But what does "you're always holding on to stars" mean? For that, we got to go back to earlier in the song when the love interest says, "It's all up in the stars." I see this as Nate and his partner having two distinct interpretations of life. His partner seems to believe that everything is predetermined, we don't have an outcome in the choices of things in life, and that we should just take things as we're given. I may be reaching with that, but hear me out. Whereas Nate seems to believe that thought process is bogus, and that if you want something to happen, you gotta make it happen for yourself. Now, I don't think either of them are right or wrong. I'm not here to decide which choice is more logical, but I do think that it's important to highlight this in order to establish that this is the main conflict between the two in this song. Now, Nate seems to be at a place where the logic of his partner no longer provides a sense of solace for him, based on lyrics such as, "I'm fading in the dark," and "Why can't you see that no one here is going to save us?" I'm picking up a bit of nihilism from him. Now, I'm not exactly sure what has happened to Nate to get him to this point in his life, but it's clear that something has him extremely conflicted inside. He's even seen pleading with the girl, trying to get her to see his point of view. Next comes his emotional cry for help, and I can't give it the same emotional weight that he does by just saying it, so I'm just gonna play it out for y'all.
I just need a helping hand. I close my eyes and think about tomorrow.
If you've noticed, he's been using auto-tune since that whole emotional hurricane thing from earlier. Now, I may be about to have a Pepe Sylvia moment, but hear me out. I don't think that the auto-tune here is just a cool voice enhancer that he decided to use, but rather a tool to help get the emotional point of the song across to the listener. But to understand this, we have to go back to the beginning. Auto-tune was invented in 1997. Wait, hold on. Don't click off the video. I'm just messing with you guys. We're gonna get right back into the song now. I believe the auto-tune represents a rejection of what's real in this song, meaning that Nate doesn't want to accept the outlook that he has on life currently, and by using auto-tune, he doesn't have to fully accept it. I don't think anyone wants to feel like they're fading out of existence or that no one's gonna save them. So through the use of auto-tune, it just has him stuck between two different belief systems. I think this point is strengthened by his cry for help from earlier. He just needs someone's help, to help dig him out of the pit of despair and hopelessness that he finds himself in. The chorus comes in and repeats that same mantra. You're always holding on to stars. I think they're better from afar, because no one here is gonna save us. It's like he's stuck in this cycle of negative self-reinforcement that if he says it enough times, it'll come true. I don't agree with him, but I do understand that feeling of it's easier to stay stuck here than it is to try and summon the will to do something else. At the end of the chorus, Nate's voice explodes into an episode of screaming. I feel like this is so well done and really emulates the feeling of frustration and anguish that he's been describing on this track. Here's a sample of it. Now, isolated and on its own, this may sound a bit silly, but in the context of this song, it's him giving into the boiling conflict that's been rising inside of him this entire time. He has no other way to express this than just a bout of screaming, and I feel like to a certain extent, we've all been there. You're running hot, you can't take the thoughts that are running at 1,000,000 miles per second in your head, so you just let it out. Hopefully not at other people, but in the car, in the shower, into a pillow. It can feel like the only possible mode of expression in that moment, and I feel like he represents this perfectly. On the outro of this song, it sounds like Nate has expended all of his pent-up emotional energy. He can only muster up to say you're always holding on to stars in a completely deadpan delivery. He has no other way to express his point of view except for just saying what his partner believes. This repeats several times as the song comes to a close, and you can hear the fatigue in his voice. He's given it his all and has nothing left to give. I hope this song didn't put too much of a damper on your mood, and I promise you, if you have not heard this song before, it is well worth the listen. I love these kinds of songs because they offer a unique perspective on life. It makes you reflect and think back on your own belief systems and your own compasses of living. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.